I really want to take this moment to really congratulate, because 80% is showing up, and for each and every one of you, you show up each week, week in and week out, to listen, learn, and grow. So thank you, and we appreciate you for doing so. So my name is 𝗥𝗵𝗲.
My name is Ria.
And welcome to our show. So today, guys, I'm going to be leading the conversation. And today I have a very, very interesting topic that not often we talk about. And today I want to talk about opening your gifts. And now this is very mysterious. You're probably wondering, okay, what is she going to talk about? Opening your gifts. Okay, so before I do that, I want to share my screen. Ria, thank you for reminding, as last time I did not share my screen. So before I do that, okay, I'm sharing my screen. Yes, I am. Okay, so opening your gifts, really, we need to know. Okay, so when we talk about opening your gifts is what I want to talk about today. Opening your gifts. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. So when you open your gifts, each and every one of us, myself, Ria, each and every one of us, we all have gifts and talents and abilities that we are born with, that we are gifted. And most of us will continue to explore, to expand on our gifts and talents. And I want to ask you, what are your gifts? What are your talents? What have you seen in your life that you're great at? And if you're great at something, don't you want to highlight? Don't you want to highlight that? And so open your gifts truly is, I truly believe that when you can start to unravel, and you know what people say, you need to be in your present. You need to be in your present moment. This show that you are watching, you are present to what Ria and I are sharing with you. You are present. So, which is why it's called a gift, because when you are present, it's like you are unraveling what is 𝗥𝗵𝗲 talking about today. You are unraveling as to the mystery behind what I'm going to be talking about. So your gifts and your talents and abilities. Okay, so we all have talents. So your talents equals your abilities, you know, that really puts you forward in life. And what really has gotten me when I first began, so I'll share a little bit of story about, you know, how when I'm talking about unraveling, open, and being open to your gifts, because sometimes, you know, we have that genius inside of us, but we are not open. We have that fixed mindset. But you need to have an open mindset to really be able to expand and to really be able to see your gifts. Because if you have, so the two different mindsets that we have is fixed and you are open. You have an expansion mindset. So which category would you want to be in? Of course, you want to be in an open mindset, because you're here watching our show. You're here watching because you want to elevate your life. You want to elevate to your success. But you can only do that if your mindset going in to whatever you are seeking, you are open to that. So this topic today is being open to your gifts. Now, the story that I just really want to share with you, Now, very earlier on, I always wanted to get into dance. And I really didn't have the opportunity, growing up. But later on, dance, whether dance found me or I found dance, it was a very happy marriage. And I would not have noticed if I didn't pursue. So when I talk about open, you need to be in pursuit, in your pursuit of knowing, what is this talent that I have? But if you're not in pursuit, you see it, but then you ignore it, and then you don't want to do anything about it, because God gave us all talents. You're all talented. You're watching, even at work, you have talents. And if we don't open our gifts and talents, and we go throughout life, we're going to be missing out on that piece. So our life is a whole. And how do you make your life a whole? Well, you make your life a whole, but it not just focusing on your business. You need to have other pieces in place that make you a whole as a person. So when you are not in pursuit of your greatness, you're not in pursuit of following up with your gifts and talents that you have. If you're not going to follow up, it's going to die. You're going to disintegrate. We all are at some point. But why not give that chance to ourselves by knowing and unraveling our gifts and talents? So I want to just talk about this because, quite often there's such a missing piece when it comes to mindset and how we can really propel ourselves and really have a successful life, is to have a whole, is to be a whole, that we're giving so much to people. And you can only do that. And so be in pursuit of your talents is the number one thing that should really matter and should be always at the forefront. Okay, what are my gifts? What are my talents? What am I good at? You could be good at speaking. And if you're good at speaking, at work, you're great at giving presentations, that is your talent. You would not have noticed. You would not have known that was your talent if you hadn't discovered, if you hadn't been in pursuit of finding out your talents, your abilities, and what are your strengths. What are your strengths? And when I start to identify, this is what I did. I started to identify, okay, what are my talents? What are my gifts that God placed me on this planet to do? And when you can start to do that, when you can start to identify those areas that are your strengths, are your biggest, that you are a champion of, then that is what you want to do. You want to pursue every time. And it's very important that when we can start to really recognize, right? So when it comes to pursuit, is to actually be in recognition of the talents and the gifts that you have. So I'm just going to leave that with you, because I know, you might be thinking, okay, well, okay, it's good, it's great. You're saying, okay, well, you need to show up, really look at, discover what are your gifts and talents. But how do I start? And that's a great question. How do you start? How do you even start to know? Because it starts when as kids, when we're young, when we're 5, we're in that experimental stage, and we like to discover, we like to play, we like to do things. And so kids very early on know that they have gifts, they know that they have talents. And as we get older, that talent, those abilities sometimes are captured by the parents. And if it is, that's wonderful, because you always need to do that. But you might be now asking, okay, how can I start to I really want to know, I want to discover my hidden talent, my hidden abilities that I am here on this lifetime to do. Well, number one, and what I discovered, as I said, I wanted to take up dance, but I didn't, and in my early age. But then, I pursued dance, I would say, in my 30s. So whether dance came to me or I came and I discovered dance, we found each other. And so that was such a great marriage. And so you can only make your life a whole, as I talked about, by unraveling that gift, okay, unwrapping that paper, that that ribbon, 𝗘𝗽𝗶𝘀, and know that inside, when you open that ribbon, inside that box is that hidden gem. And that hidden gem is your talents, your abilities that you have had, but it was not discovered. So you can start to discover your talents and abilities by doing. It's only by doing. So if it's speaking, you got to do and speak. If it's dancing, you got to go to a studio and go and dance. That is the only way you are going to know, is it for you or if it's not for you. If it's not for you, that is okay too, because, we are not going to be good at everything. Athletes, they are great at what they do, whether you're a golfer, whether you are a basketball player. Athletes, how did they become great? Because they do it. They do it 24/7, 365 a year, and they don't give up. So I have a challenge for you, and I want you to find out, discover, what are your talents and what are they and where are they? Where do your talents lie? Where is your strengths? Today, if you were to unravel and discover, you will be amazed. Ria.
Thank you for that, Aka. One thing, you bring up a good point about, kids, right? Kids are very curious by nature. They
Oh,
are
yeah.
not afraid of anything, and they're willing to try all things that they see you do.
Yeah.
And that's how, I would discover and find out, oh, that my son is actually great in, reading and public speaking. And then I try to hone it, right? I try to expose him to, facing the camera, which is very difficult for a lot of times, because then I could
Right.
see, hey, he would be a great speaker if I hone that. Now, like you said, right, we got to have an open mindset, not a fixed mindset. We have to be willing to do things that we're not comfortable, because then we will find out the gem, the diamond that's hiding in that box that we need to unwrap.
Exactly. That's where you're going to find, oh, you're welcome. That's where you're going to find that hidden gem, that, that it's like the diamond in the rough, and or the needle in the haystack. And so, yeah, absolutely, you got to do it. And the parents really have to, and you got to get out your, comfort zone in order to do something, in order to be great at anything. You have to get out of your comfort zone and just do it. Just face it. Just face the beast. So everything's going to stop you. As I talk about, part of my segment, I talk about mindset, and I talk about, the paradigms and what the paradigm does. The paradigm just keeps us. If you recall, I talked about the terror barrier, you're unable to go through that wall because there's a barrier, and that barrier is your mind. Your paradigm is holding you back. So this is my challenge, is to, there are two things, is to discover your talent, and I want you to know as to where. Number two is to where your talents that you are discovering lies in. All right. And so with that being said, thank you for joining in week out. Thank you for being with us every moment, every time. We truly appreciate. So make the rest of the day the best of your day, and we will see you